sick. For my people sleepwalking late night on the strip, South Street or South Beach, you can take your pick. Throw on the best clothes just to pick up a chick. Meanwhile, the media's lying in your face. FEMA camps being put up all over the place. Take a look around.
Brothers and sisters, I hope you all are doing fine. Yeah, we fixed a few technical issues. I want to say all praise be to the Most High. I hope you all can hear us clear. One moment here. All right. To make sure. All right. Right now, of course, my name is Eldon Gocc of the Gathering of Christ Church, and we're here for another, what we hope to be a knowledge-packed broadcast for the brothers and sisters worldwide in preparation for the kingdom of the Most High and bringing awareness throughout the four corners of the earth to the Most High. Ahayah by His Son Yeshua through the Holy Spirit, and to wake up our people and bring them back to the Most High. Now, right now, we have Gocc working behind the scenes today, so he'll be dealing with the switchboard and what have you, and we get a few technical issues settled. But all in all, it's myself today, and I have Brother Shapat. Of course, we'll make sure to open up the lines to talk to you all. During this broadcast, we're going to make it really an open-end conversation. We're going to touch on a few things today. I want to say shalom and hello to all the brothers and sisters throughout the world. And again, I'd like to thank you all for your help and your participation within the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Brothers are the great. The truth is going out, and I don't think it's any coincidence that we touched on the history of Islam this past Sunday. Why Islam in specific? Well, it just fell into we usually do it around 7 or 8 of the around 2 months. But I don't think it's, I think it's ironic that it happened right after we had a guest on about a couple of weeks ago. All right. And I think it was her name. I'm still trying to get her name together here. It was a close relative. I think the daughter of Farrakhan. Nahashta Lone Wolf. And we had her on, and of course, like most of our interviews, eventually when we start answering what I would call not difficult, but accountable questions, and we are accountable for an answer if we are looking to be in a position to lead our people. It seems as if when we ask a question that leads to real solution, it's usually some level of pushback or friction. And the example I can give, now, this is the reason I'm putting this out there, because after that, at the end of her interview, she said, well, she's not really historically literate when it comes to the doctrine and history of Islam, being the daughter or granddaughter, well, still a daughter of Farrakhan, being a close relative. You would think that she would understand that history, but all in all, she was honest in pointing out the fact that wasn't her forte, that wasn't her area of expertise. She's just someone that's looking to be active, be like an activist, and do what she can with her popularity to help the people as she sees fit, as she think help is where she think help is needed. But all in all, she said that she would get more so an expert to come on to answer some of these more accountable questions. And we 3 weeks. At one time, he called the producer Ahayah and said that he has a family matter, and I'm speaking of Wesley Muhammad, who would come on upon her request to answer some of these accountable questions. I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, why these questions we were going to point out are important, and it should be at the forefront of any conversation when it comes to leading the people or directing our people out of their condition or our condition. His name was Wesley Muhammad. He called out the first week, and then the second week we were hoping that he would come on, and we waited again, and he called out again, and I found out, well, 5 minutes, brothers and sisters, before the show, we found out that he was kind of disappointed the way the interview with Nahash the Lone Wolf went, and therefore he gracefully bowed out of the conversation. Not that I blame him. He wouldn't be the first. And it's not that we have, that we're some great debate, some information, but the cases to show that we know more than others. That's not the case at all. This is not a libido contest. The whole deal is if we are in a position to lead our people, we should have the history of how Israel or the black people throughout the four corners of the earth got in to this situation. How did we fall as a people? What was our peril? What was our fall? Instead of just pinpointing the obvious and pointing out the obvious, such as we're in slavery, we were whipped, we were beat, we treated like second-class citizens, the whole world is against us because we're black. Use these as hot button points just to put a Band-Aid on scenarios that come up ever so often instead of long-term solutions. And I think brothers and sisters, and that's why brothers and sisters don't care no more. And, of course, we're going to get your opinion out there. But brothers and sisters are finding not to care because they don't see no hope. They don't see no real solution. They see the same things over and over again. Injustice done. Some activists get together 9 times out of 10. It's some nonprofit group that's financed so that they can actually come out and show some level of solidarity or fight against the power. And once the people all come together and rant and tear down half of their area, they go back to their homes and nothing changes. And I think the majority of brothers and sisters are getting tired of that. So what? You can come out and point to what we can all see. But what's the bottom line? How do we get in this condition? How did we get here? And it seems no one wants to really address that, because why? If we really can address the issue of how we got here, how we felt as a people, eventually we can come up with a long-term solution. Well, we can take the past as what we would call we can use it as a platform. We can look back and say, you know what, let's use this as our blueprint of what not to do going forward. This is why the other nations and the other people have progressed above us. We all know that we were great and we were always we were powerful at one point. We were kings. I hear all this stuff. Kings and queens fall to the base to be the base of people on the earth. No one can ever get. So what I do is when we bring these guests, we bring up these issues and we call their leadership to task. and say, okay, if you're going to lead our people, that's fine. If you're going to bring forth but what are you going to say that haven't been done already? Or are you going to just set up a new nonprofit and have a new niche that, that's a Band-Aid so that you can, it's as if, and I was speaking to you about this, Shapat, the other day, how it seems to some degree like some people look at our condition. They'll be amongst the people and look at our condition, right? And then they'll see what haven't been picketed on yet, or what haven't rallied around to get some nonprofit money from the government for, so they can say, okay, well, we see this LBGT group amongst the black community, you understand, and the injustice that's being done for them. So let me set up an organization for that, knowing that there's some grant money someplace, so that now you become an activist strictly because the finances are dictating what you should be talking about. And why does the government have these grants? They want you to take these grants to actually magnify the racial tension they're trying to promote. That leads to what? Them jackbooting us more. They would rather finance friction instead of solution. You'll never see them, I'm speaking of the government, financing solutions. So that's why. And guess what? They're not the only ones going to call out when it comes time to come on the show, when they start to hear what we have to talk about. They're not going to be the only ones upset because we're not going to throw them some fluff questions. Okay? The bottom line is this. Let me talk about it real quick. This is where we were going with this conversation. And you know what? I didn't want, brothers and sisters, this is what I didn't want. All right? I didn't want it to be a situation where today, because he called out, or the Nation of Islam called out of this conversation, I didn't want it to be a thing where what we prepared go unheard. So we're going to talk about it. All right? Now, I know some people might ask, well, we see the Nation of Islam out there doing something. We see other people doing something. Well, what are y'all doing? Or what are the Hebrews doing? What are the Israelites doing, right? Well, we're going to talk to you about that. We're going to talk about what the Hebrews, what the Israelites are doing. And I can't speak for every Israelite, but I'm going to tell you what, through the Spirit of the Most High, we are doing. Okay? Now, my discussion with the Nation of Islam, we're going to go in a lot of different areas today. Okay? The first thing I wanted to talk about, and you can jump in anytime you would like, Shapat. The mic is in the middle. You see something, you hear something that you feel you can say, right now Gocc is where he is. I know we can pull in, we're going to pull in Gabar, Elder Gabar from New York. We're going to talk to him. And once Gocc get his mic together, we're going to try to get him in here because I know he's probably seething trying to get that together because I know he have a lot to say on this. But let me jump right into it. Just speaking expressly on the Nation of Islam, what we know. All right, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to go into why have the mission of the original Nation of Islam changed from when it began to what it is now. Are we in a better case as a people? Are we in a better situation as a people since the Civil Rights Movement and the rise of what you would call the religious wings that came out of the Civil Rights Movement? Are we better off since the Nation of Islam, the nation of Islam, right, began as a people? Are we better since the Christian leaders that were under Martin Luther King sold us to the Democratic Party, which we know the Democratic Party is really the party that was fighting to continue slavery? They just operate in stealth now. Really, they're behind the demise within our communities. They're behind the abortion, all that. They're really trying to destroy us internally as Democrats, but knowing that we as a people really are not history literate and really don't know the history of the Democrats. Right? So are we better off since we're so into the political system? Are we better off since the Nation of Islam became what we would call a political force within our neighborhoods? What have they accomplished since the 60s and 70s that we can point to as a positive for our people? I was going to ask that question, and maybe some people out there can answer that. You know where our stance is, where we stand. First of all, we stand as the children of God. According to the Bible, we know that the children of slaves were prophesied out of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, to go into cargo slave ships. We know how we got in this condition as a people. It was due to the sins of our forefathers living, and now we're living a generational curse. We understand this. Okay? But, okay, Gocc, I hear you. Come on back in a minute. Now, so, and I'm pointing this out because I can now go to the past, look in the Bible, look in the Old Testament, see the laws from nothing, and recognize that God raised us, that parted the Red Sea, that healed us, that fed us manna, that delivered us into the land of Canaan, later called Israel. And with that, people of righteousness, a people of law, statutes, judgment, people of that because of the law. Right? We were accountable. So I can read that in the Bible. So now I wake up here in so-called 2015, and I wonder how to get in this condition. Now I have something to draw from. I can go into the Bible and say, okay, we started following the ways of the Gentiles, right? We started not caring about the laws of the Most High. We stopped caring for each other. We began to break the commandments. We began to sin against the law of God. We begin to deal with homosexuality and all the Most High said don't deal with stealing and killing and coveting. And because of that, and then we began to put other gods over the God who delivered out of Egypt. We began to act no different than the heathen. Therefore, a matter of fact, let me read it. Do me a favor real quick. Go Deuteronomy 32:21 for me real quick. And I'm going to show you why we're going here. Deuteronomy 32:21. This is why we're going here, and I'm going to show you. And how what we're bringing out in the Bible relates to this conversation, what we're talking about tonight. See, and when we bring these things up, this is what causes the friction. Some people say, well, religion causes the friction. No, it's not religion. Okay? It's just that our people, and it's a shame, our people, when it comes to the scriptures, don't want to be accountable. It's not an argument. There's things in the Bible we can all agree with. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. It doesn't matter whether or not you're Muslim, Christian. It doesn't matter if you are whatever you believe. We can read this and all agree with this. So let's not make it a religious thing because someone is Islam and or someone may be dealing with Christianity, whatever. I believe that all of our people, if we read this for what it says in its proper context, we can relate to it. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Read it. Deuteronomy 32 and read the 21st verse.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 21.
Yes.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
It says the children of God, the children of Israel, moved the Most High God to jealousy with that which is not God. So that means God's people, the Bible, began to follow other religions, other way of lives, other way of living outside of the commands of the God of Israel. It's that simple. Now, at this time, all the nations had a way of living or a religion over their respective countries. But what made us different, we received the laws from on high, from heaven. We weren't heathens.
Back it up, sir.
Yes, read it.
Verse 17.
Come on.
They sacrificed unto devils, not to the Most High.
We began to sacrifice unto devils, similar to what you see today at the Bohemian Grove, where the other nations sacrifice little children to Moloch for power. Why? Because they're being controlled. They're being ran by demonic forces and fallen angelic forces. And these forces are behind all of the religions in the earth. The Most High made sure that we wouldn't be under the Anunnaki of the Egyptians, which are fallen spirits. He moved us from that. If he wanted us to be like them, he would have kept us in Egypt. Right? We would have stayed in Egypt if he wanted us to continue, because the Egyptians worshiped many gods. No sooner as we got our own, we began to fall backward and fall back in the same mind, the same muck. We desired it. Read.
To gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up.
And then we started worshiping new gods, just like new religions. And I'm going to go into and show you how it relates to our conversation.
Feared not. Of rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful.
We're unmindful of the rock that begot us. And I think that's one of the greatest ills amongst our people. We all as a people can relate to what we're going through by the hands of the white men and what the Western world have done to us in captivity and slave ships. We can all relate to that. But one thing that we don't relate is that we were all at one time under one God. We knew who he was. We understood it. And through that came a behavior. It came a civility on how we must treat each other. But we forgot the rock that made us. See? Now we're being divided. Now, because of captivity, the other nations can come in and use us. Because we've been divided and enslaved, now an Arab can come and say, well, let me show you Allah. Let me show you Islam. It's the way. Why? Because they know you lost your way. But they'll never give you the solution. They'll never tell you why you fell. Why? Because automatically it minimizes their power. If they realize who you are, if they teach you who you are, now what must they do? They must now come under the power of your God. But they do the reverse. Stay where you are. But they do the reverse. What they do, actual reverse. They play on our ignorance and say, well, I can show you Islam as the way since you're lost. They'll never tell us we're the people of the book. Right? They'll keep us lost. Or you have a Christian come, a Christian Gentile come, won't even teach you the Bible. They'll tell you somebody entirely different. Or you must be Ham or somebody. You the cursed people. Why? Because when you realize who we are, and when we realize this, we come back to our God, and the Most High begin to destroy the power of the Gentiles who have enslaved us and indoctrinated us. See? Now we can point to the culprits that's behind our demise. See, we shouldn't follow all these different religions and gods. That's how we fell. So first of all, I don't care how prominent a religion might be today. If we realize we're the children of God, now we have to put all religions on, right? Whether it be the Nation of Islam, whether it be Buddhist, whether it be Christianity, we have to put it all on the table and say, okay, what matches here? Let's look at the law, statutes, and let's see what religions out there are actually following the laws. See, this is how we can now determine whether or not a religion is correct or incorrect. Like, for instance, if a religion tells me that I must make Hajj and go someplace where a rock is, behind a curtain, and claiming that it was part of Abraham's house, so I'm going to bow and kiss it. Right? I know that in the book of Exodus, the 20th chapter, the Most High give us a command. And the command is we're not to bow ourselves to any god, wood or stone, anything that's made on the earth or hewn on the earth or whatever the case is, we're not to bow ourselves. So automatically, I don't care how loving or compassionate a religion might sound. That's how they tricked us the first time, right? If I see some people over there in the Middle East beating their head on the ground, dealing with a rock, I know that that's not religion or the way of life given through my God, according to the Bible. See? It's simple. Like, for instance, I don't care what Christian claim that they're following Christ or they're following the Bible. If we go into the Bible in Leviticus, the 11th chapter, right? And it tells us in Leviticus, the 11th chapter, that we're not to eat swine. They tell us that they're not under the law, so can eat anything they want. You tell me you can break that law, then what's to stop homosexuals from standing up in your churches saying that I know this because I read the Bible. These homosexuals be talking about this, I read the Bible. We're breaking all the laws. How can you now judge me being a homosexual up in here, dealing with all these men and turning them into little girls? How can you judge me now? See, that's how they operate. Because you okay to break the Most High's law, now all the churches have become lawless. So I can look at the Bible, separate the Bible from what I see in these religious institutions. Now I'm looking at the Bible as a blueprint from whence we fell according to God's law. And if all of our people come back together under these laws, we're together. It doesn't matter whether or not it's a Christian, Muslim, whatever the case is, no matter what you call yourself. You come back under the law, that's the first step into getting us out of this. Because now, that same God that led us out of Egypt gives us direction out of the captivity He put us in by scattering us throughout the four corners of the earth. Of course, He would give us a direction. But let me veer back to my point. Let's go. Let's go 32 and 21. So we forgot the rock that begot us. We forgot the God that raised and gave a promise to our father Abraham. Our own worth. And we began to give our God's glory to the Gentiles' gods, who are really fallen angels. Right? Go on.
21.
21 now.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not the Most High.
Come on.
They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
So the Most High God, Ahayah, the God of the Hebrews, said what? Since you move me to jealous with a God which is no God, I'm going to move you to jealousy with people that are not my people. Israel. See, these people God is speaking to, the Most High God is speaking to, are the children of Israel. And we can all relate to all the prophecies in it. Captivity, us being made merchandise of, us being the low of the earth, being scattered, being destroyed, pestilence and diseases cleaving to us, cleaving on us. This can all be read in Deuteronomy 28. We're the people. So the Most High said, you're going to put up a no God for me? Okay, I'm going to put up a no people for you. So now, that's the blueprint in which we can all come together no matter what we claim we believe and say, okay, let's make sure we're all following this God and not the God of the Arabs, not the God of the Romans, because they're Esau and Ishmael. They are behind our demise. It's in their benefit to have us chasing our tail and never realize who we are. It's in their benefit to take us out of the Bible and try to make it the Bible is not literal. To try to make it where we can interpret the Bible any way we want. Because they don't want you to see this literally. Because these are literal laws that will bring us out of our condition. See, and that's the discussion that I was going to have this evening. Let's say, okay, how do we know Islam is the way? Right? Now, we know that I got some history here. And I wanted to talk about this. The history I have here is the fact that we all, especially nowadays, online or what have you, you hear it over and over again. The white man is the devil. The white man did this. The white man enslaved us. They've always did bad things to us, and they have circumvented us, right? And I'm not going to say that what people are saying in these accounts aren't true. The Bible said that the nations would do this to us. Read Deuteronomy 28, not just the white man. And see, and that's the point. We're only looking at the white man and not realizing that well before white man did this to us, the Arab man did this to us. See? We broke it down in the academy this Sunday. Ishmael don't have no promise in the Bible. Ishmael is the father of the Arabs. So how, if they're not the people of the promise, how can they be the imams and have the authority to give our people religion? And I'm going to tell you what happened. And guess what? They seen the need, going back to the civil rights movement of the 60s and 70s. My mother and father was in it. And I'm going to tell you right now, they seen, I'm speaking of the powers that be, seen an opportunity to divide us even further, knowing that we were trying. They just wanted to see what side of the game they would finance. They wanted to divide us. Keep in mind, the core piece of destruction when it came towards our people in the civil rights movement, the core piece was and I believe their initiative was to eventually get us out of the Bible and get us more so in the democratic system and not believe in the Most High and call on our God to get us out of this condition. They turned it from a religious movement in which it started into more so a political movement, into the same new world that was destroying us, same apparatus that was destroying us. Wanted to pay a few key people to keep us still while they destroy us and separate our families and totally demoralize us and just rip us apart. So when I look at going back to when the Nation of Islam became a power in the 60s and 70s and gained some, especially in the 60s, gained some serious momentum. To us, it seems as if this was a group that was standing for something besides us turning the other cheek. But really, it was something else. It was a lie, because the majority of the people they were aiming this movement to, or this newfound way of Islam to, were children of slaves who were, before this, predominantly all Christian. So the majority of the children of slaves learned out of the Bible. They grew up in captivity, in slavery, learning from the Bible and going to church. Not that it's all the way correct, but at least they believed in Christ and at least they had the Bible. This was a systematic trick to get now another religion, another people's religion that was behind our demise even before the white man in America, to now come in and to divide that Christian core. Divide that. Stop those that once believed in the Bible and then bring in another prophet outside of Christ. Dividing the same people that's looking for justice, and injustice was happening in turn. We didn't see it. The only enemy we seen was the white man. We didn't see the enemy within that was dividing us and was moving us out of the Bible into the political system. And it was our core belief in the Bible that started the whole movement, brothers and sisters, that really gained the power and world notoriety. Everyone else was just jumping on board. I'm going to tell you, I don't agree with everything Martin Luther King did, and I'll tell you, even Martin Luther King made statements before his untimely death that he was afraid that he actually made an agreement to keep us in a burning house. I don't agree with everything, but I know that his core principles of nonviolence came directly from Matthew, the 5th chapter. It came from Christ. That movement alone gained the notoriety of the world. I know a lot of people want to talk about Gandhi. Nobody care about that Gandhi garbage. Let me tell you, Christ's principles was applied that gave our people a platform throughout the world. They needed to divide that. Hence, these other organizations coming through, gaining power, gaining notoriety. That was a key point in history. We can go either way at that time. And we chose the political arena opposed to standing with the Most High. And I'm going to tell you, the governments of this earth was prepared to incarcerate us and put us in camps in the 60s. That would have been the last resort if they could not have divided us through first the religion and the key point was selling all these people into the political system. If they couldn't do it that way and socialize us, their only recourse would have been what they call the King Alfred's Plan. The King Alfred's Plan, which was turned to Rex 84, was actually processed and began to lock all black people up in the 60s. They already had the camps ready in the 60s. But that was the last recourse. They would rather pacify us and have us build their one world order and destroy us systematically while we're helping them build a construct into the heavens. That was their, that was the ultimate plan. You know what? They had a fallback plan. We didn't. If we began to stand as one and realize that our common enemy is spiritual and the whole one world order is under a satanic apparatus and a religion. If we would have all stayed in that Bible and say, well, hold up. Let's not go to any man, whether it be the white man, the Arab man, or any other man, to right the wrong that's been done to us. Let's not go to them. Let's go into this Bible and see where we fail. Because there's a similarity. It's a similar story I'm seeing here with our people who were enslaved in America and those that were enslaved in Egypt. There's some similarities here. So let's, even if we don't believe we're the people, let's just take it from that angle and just look at with the similar circumstances, and let's see the mistakes of the Israelites that were under the Egyptians. What laws they began to break once they had their freedom and had all power and were kings and queens? What errors did they make? Why don't we follow those same laws and see the benefit of them? Because what government would disagree with it? What government would disagree with it? You're not stealing from each other. You're not stealing from them. You're not killing each other. You're not killing them. Right? You're not committing adultery. You're not fornicating. You're not stealing. You're not doing. You're following. You're being holy. So that can only be a contribution to the society you're growing within. Right? That can only make you what? An asset. But they probably would have came after us anyway, because if we were to follow the Bible, what happens? Brothers and sisters, we gain power. We gain power. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to go into it. I went into it more in depth a couple of days ago. But I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, the Nation of Islam, and this don't have nothing to do with Farrakhan personally. This thing, the Nation of Islam started before Farrakhan. And I don't think they understand I would say the damage that came from that particular movement within our community. And I'm going to be straight with it. And some people might ask, well, what am I talking about? Think about it. The people that they were initiating were primarily the children of slaves or Christians or people who believed and loved Christ and believed on the Bible. Right? When Islam came in, it gave us what Elijah Muhammad said, and quote unquote, this Islam is really the religion for the quote unquote black man. Quote unquote. That's what he said. Now, we as a people seeing water hose sprayed on us, seeing dogs sicked on us, seeing injustice, looking at black hands pointing down alleys, a lot of this new preaching was a breath of fresh air. That we can stand up and defend ourselves. But we didn't have to join another religion for this. Right? But we looked at this and said, you know what? This is a viable option. This is what we should be following. Not realizing the damnable consequences. Think about it. Stick with me here. By Islam gaining so much steam during that time, right? You have the Nation of Islam. You see a lot of benefits where you seem self-sufficient. People started dealing with selling their own bean pies and all the things and building within. These were good qualities that no one can deny were good. But we didn't need to have Islam for that. When I say a damnable, what I would call a damnable divide, it's deeper than just the Nation of Islam. Because to some degree, at least it was our people. But they were introducing something to us that destroyed us in the past. And the children of slaves didn't have that history to draw from when it came to choosing between the Bible or this new religion for black people, the Nation of Islam. See? By doing so, with a black face, bringing forth an Arab religion, that allowed a greater chasm amongst our community. Because now that Islam has been introduced, and we're questioning whether or not the Bible is the word that we should be following. Who's going to capitalize now? Us? Did the Nation of Islam capitalize? No. Who capitalized? The Arabs, who eventually now after the black people broke the ice and introduced this as a way of life amongst our community, the Arabs started coming over and financing their own schools amongst us, their own businesses amongst us. See, they began to become imams amongst us. They let the black man break the ice for them. See? And through that divide, they come in now, buy up all our properties, bed our women like wenches. See? And then the blacks that opened the door for them in our community come in the community and you know what? Well, the Nation of Islam is not recognized really as a true sect of Islam within the Middle East. You must learn from an imam. You must learn from Ishmael. You want the real religion. Where was they in the 60s and 70s? No. They let that movement happen, knowing that it would be an opportunity for them to come in and circumvent it and make us worse than before there was any such thing as the Nation of Islam. Next thing you know, they're selling oils, incense, tables, you name it, they're doing it. They're buying up all the black community and discrediting those that opened the door for them. But is that a surprise? No, because the Bible tells us that the nations would always do this. They would always make merchandise of us and use us for their own opportunity. This is what they did to the children of God in the Bible. And because we as a people are so short-sighted, we're just looking at that one moment. We never realize the long-term repercussion. We're only looking at that moment. Now, I want to talk about this now. I made some serious, what some people might call incinerating statements here. All right? And I understand that. I said that Islam was introduced to us by Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, then later Farrakhan, as a viable religion for black people. And it blew Malcolm X away when he realized that the Islam that was being taught in America was nothing like the Islam in the Middle East. That's what threw him for a trip. The reason why it was the religion for us at this time, during the Civil Rights Movement, why? Because it was a viable option outside of turning your cheek of Martin Luther King. It was more so a defense mechanism and a way of fighting the power than it was the religion for our people. It was just a viable option for those who didn't want to stand with the nonviolence movement. See? That's how we were looking at it. We wasn't looking at it as something that we should put on the table and say, well, listen, what should we take from this? What shall we leave on the cutting floor? If anything, especially they was introducing to Christians, black Christians, children of slaves. Okay, I'm not going to walk away from my Bible here, okay? So let me see what I can take from this movement and leave the rest on the cutting floor, because I have the history of Islam that says that they did what the so-called white man is doing to us now. They did this. How do you think the wars happened during the Crusades? Who do you think was warring? Who was being initiated in the Crusades between the Christians and Muslims? The Moors. We were being initiated and converted. We were the Moors who were converted. What the white man did and say, well, the white man. Well, how can that be a solution? How can we have a solution from a people and a religion from a people who did to us the same thing the white man was doing to us in the Civil Rights Movement? That's how Islam became a religion. We, the black Jews, taught Muhammad, and it cannot be disputed. I sat amongst imams and wise men of Arabs who can attest that what we're telling you is correct. Black people, Jews, read your books. Okay? We have a few of them. We have references. The black Jews. Let me tell you, Muhammad wasn't born until 570 A.D. In the 6th century A.D., you understand? That means Christ was already on the earth. The law, statutes, and commandments were already delivered to us. The scrolls that would make the Bible were already on the scene before there's any such thing as Muhammad or the Quran. When we didn't want to recognize Muhammad's religion, he turned, instead of our ally, he turned our enemy. He made us choose the sword, either convert or the sword. At one particular scenario, at the marketplace, he killed 600 people, black Jews who didn't want to bow. His men killed 600 Jews and sold the women and children into slavery. Now, this was before. We're talking about 1,000 years before the transatlantic slave trade, brothers and sisters. This is what the Arabs did to us. Now, during the civil rights movement, if that conversation would have came during this during this so-called movement or the religion for the black man, then we would have put that on the table and said, well, listen, I understand what you're saying. You want, okay, I'm down with not allowing them to jackboot us and sick dogs. I'm down with that. But you don't have to introduce to us another oppressive religion in the midst of this. You understand? We're running from oppression to oppression. We're saying, okay, the white man, the Christianity and all that. Listen, we know that Christianity is incorrect. The Bible don't teach about Christianity. Christianity came from Rome. The Bible don't teach about no Christianity. The Bible teaches about the fall and rise of a people, the children of Israel. Christ is that lamb that Yeshua is that lamb. Christ, the Savior, Yeshua was that lamb that would die and shed his blood according to an Old Testament law to bring a people back to prominence, the children of Abraham. That's what should have been taught in the movement. In any movement, the movement. The movement is Israel, come back to the Most High God. Come back to the God of the Bible. How can you come back to the Quran when the Quran wasn't nowhere in existence when the Torah was given to Moses? The Quran was nowhere in existence when Christ and disciples walked this earth. How can Arabs and a belief that come from Saudi Arabia, after they plagiarize our teachings, how can that be the way out for us? That's why they didn't want to come on the program. Because just like all these other religions and these other activists, they're short-sighted. They have very short vision when it comes to solution. They want to see what the hot button point is and jump on that for the week. But there's never been a long-term solution for our people. Why? Because they don't have one. So people want to ask, well, what do y'all have? What y'all doing? Right? We're delivering this Bible to the four corners of the earth. People who didn't know that they were the children of God are now following God's law. That's what we're doing. And through that, in the privacies of their own home, they're coming back to the Most High. And the same spirit that scattered us will gather us if we fall under those laws we broke. There's too much compromise with these groups. When I say compromise in the word of the Most High. When you take a political stance or political movement, now you must do what? You must compromise according to those who are within your little bubble of activism. It's all about numbers with these activists, more so than right or wrong. It's how many people they can show matter they can move or control so that they can gain some political prestige while our people are destroyed, being ran amok. Not just by the so-called white man. There's more internal running amok than anything. So that's what I was going to talk about today. And I can understand, after him listening to the interview, I can understand why he didn't want to come on. Because, hey, I have a few things here. Okay? For those who missed it, Wesley, a guy by the name of Wesley Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, a minister, was going to come on. Okay? On the back of Farrakhan's daughter, or I think granddaughter, who was on the show, to come on and, give 2 cents of history of why we should follow the Nation of Islam.
It's great that he actually did some homework, so he knew what he was.
Yeah, he knew what he's going into. Let me tell you, there's no way you can come into these meetings, these conversations, these talks, and not have your history together and be ready. Right. We should be able to challenge each other of all these fluff questions we giving each other just for the sake of political talk. And we talk and talk, we never get anywhere as a people. Now it's time to call people to task. You're in a position, okay, what is the move then?
Exactly.
What is the move? Marching to show the so-called white man that you can get people to march? Look how much more money you should give me. Look how much more, look at all the people who respect my voice. Okay? No. Even Yeshaya say, you render unto Caesar what Caesar's, but render unto the Most High what belonged to him. You think Christ and the disciples will be marching on Washington, asking Caesar for something, marching on Rome, saying, Caesar, help us, Caesar. Look, y'all dealing with injustice. That's ridiculous. It was the Most High God that put Caesar over you and made one way out, and it's not Farrakhan. It's Yeshaya. It's Christ. You think the Savior would march on Rome? I understand why they didn't want to come on the show. Because we're going to call them to task. You saying you have a movement. How is it you have a movement? What's the new movement they have now? This new garbage they have out there, the Black Lives Matter. Another hot button point that was created through George Soros, something in which if you participate with, there's money for that from the government that's suppressing you. So now everybody, Black Lives Matter. But here it is, within those Black Lives Matter, you got homosexuals, thieves, robbers, killers. The only thing they got together is the fact, the only thing they have in common is that they're black. And that they all agree that cops shouldn't jackboot black people. Is that your platform? Black Lives Matter? Where you have to agree with people just because they're black? What type of mess is that? There's greater injustice. So now people see, okay, George Soros has some grants that if you join Black Lives Matter and quell and be a part of this racial divide they're trying to finance, yeah, you can make some money for a little bit, but sell your people down the river in the interim. One moment. Now, I'm going to put it out there. And these were my bullet points for this particular, what I would call broadcast or conversation. And maybe even though it didn't happen, just the same way he was able to look at our last broadcast and decide not to be on it, he'll see this, or they'll see this. Because this is not just for the Nation of Islam. This is for anyone that claims that they're in a position to point to injustices, point out injustices, and bring solutions, no matter who you may be. I had a usually people claim that, okay, we need some money to have our own. Give me some money so we can have our own. We need our own place to live and away from the white man's tyranny. Are you kidding me? Not that I feel good about being under any other nation, but think about it. What law would we have to govern ourselves if we were separated from? Let's start there. What laws? Are we going to have the Quran, the Bible? What? How will we draft our government and our wise men in positions that would lead us? And I know a question mark would come up everyone's head when I mention this. And I know some people say, well, we'll have this doctor come in for this and this doctor come in for that. But suppose all these doctors that you have different ideologies on how to set up a government. Would it ever happen? Like, for instance, I'm going to give you some examples because here's the answer. Within a government, you have moral, civil, ceremonial, dietary laws that governs the whole country. Like, for instance, the Hebrews didn't tolerate homosexuality. And I want to just magnify that. We didn't tolerate it according to the Bible. It was intolerable. There was a law concerning it so that people knew not to go that way. Or dealt with the penalty the same way there was a penalty for any sin. At least there was laws. I know people say, well, those. But guess what? Look at our world today. With what you call, quote unquote, freedom to do what you want to do. Is this the world that you want?
Is that girl free in the classroom?
Huh?
That got flung across the classroom?
Yeah. Was she free? Yeah. So here it is. What I'm saying is, it seems we always find something, and I'm not excuse the bad behavior of these cops or whatever the case is. They're of the devil what they do. We understand that. But understand that if you have a lawless society in which you can have disrespectful children, you can have people can say what they want and do what they want, and parents that can't chastise their kids and on and on and on and on and on, this is what you get. So you're going to always have something to march about because the law itself is injustice. So if we were to have a place of our own, like we claim we need, away from the white man and the terror and the other people, what laws would we follow to make sure same perils we're falling to now? I have an answer. If we did and just followed the laws out of the Bible and made everyone accountable for that, it would be a civil and respectful society. See? And guess what? And we're not talking about stoning people either. Okay? Because we understand Christ dying on the cross, that was the stoning. He died to repent before penalty. So that means anyone out there that's doing whatever they're doing and had the freedom to do, okay, if you're coming in now, you have to leave, you have to check that behavior at the door now. Okay? Okay, you're going to be sheltered under total protection, but you must leave the sin on the outside of this community. See? When it comes to every law now contained in the Bible, we must operate and say, well, listen, you would have been stoned for that before, but you know what? Grace has applied, but you can't do that up in here. There's no pedophiles, no bestiality. We'll have it already in print. We'll have it in print and say, do you agree or disagree with these laws? No one is going to harm you or nothing. You decide whether or not this is something you want to be a part of, a civil community of people. spiritual people following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. See, not only did I just point out what they're not doing, we just gave a solution. And I know some people will say, well, why are you going to use the white man's Bible? That's the white man's Bible. Brothers and sisters, just stop it that's saying that. You know every character in this book is a black man. You know that already. And a lot of y'all teach that too. In Africa, even the Bible, teach that all the characters, Christ himself and all that, were black. You teach that yourself. Stop the madness. The real reason people don't want to go into the Bible and deal with it is because it's accountability. And they know the Bible is pointing out something they're doing wrong, in which they're not, that they feel it's part of their makeup, that they feel that they were born this way or whatever the case is, and they don't want to change. That's the real reason people don't want to follow the Bible. It has nothing to do with the white man. Some of the white man tampered. Listen, if the white man tampered with this, the way you're claiming, Christ would not be a black man in Revelations, the 1st chapter. He wouldn't have feet like brass and hair like wool in Revelations. You mean to tell me that's the first thing they should have tampered with? They didn't need to tamper with the book, brothers and sisters, like that. The only thing they needed to do was tamper with up here and make you believe it wasn't you in this Bible. Therefore, you will now look at the oppression of the white man and relate it to the only book that can guide us out of this. And there's no coincidence going back to the Nation of Islam. It's no coincidence that now Farrakhan quote more from Christ and more from the Bible. I mean, do they even read the Quran anymore? They know that book is not the solution, but yet they don't want to actually succumb to it or obey it and reverence it and respect it the way it needs to be respected. And if you can't respect the Bible and calling on an Arab God, the God of the Bible is the God of the Hebrews, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, he's the God of all people, but his name is not Allah. He didn't give the name of Allah to Moses when he gave the commandments. Why do we have to Arabic amongst our people? Now, there's more. There's a lot more. But hold up. Let's have this conversation. Let's talk. Let's talk now. Things I was going to bring up. We're talking about solution now. No more marching, because guess what? I'm going to put it out there for you so that you don't have to worry about the news hyping you up again. Somebody else black is going to get killed by the cops. Somebody else is going to get stomped by the cops. So another black girl is going to be thrown around. More people are going to be hung. On and on and on. Okay, it's a broken record. It's going to happen. But what stay constant? Nothing is done. Our people get whipped up in a frenzy, and those who understand how to capitalize off of these scenarios capitalize. It's as if they don't really want us out of the condition, because without the condition, where's their status? If there's nobody getting shot, no one getting hung, if there's no one being, getting injustice done to them, what job do Reverend Al Sharpton have? What is Farrakhan's position? It's as if I'm starting to believe they don't want us out of this. What do you think? We all fail according to the Bible because we broke his law, statutes, and commandments. What's so bad about the Bible not to come back to it? I need someone to show us in the Bible what's wrong with it. It seems we've tried everything else, and we still haven't come together. We all need to be following and calling on one God. There's only one God. He don't have a billion names. We all need to find that God and follow his commandments together. Okay? It's the stubbornness of man and the ego of man that won't allow this to happen. Why? Because we feel, well, where do we fit in here? Where's my platform? This is what we need to do. Put the law, statutes, and commandments on the table and talk about them. Find those that are willing to follow it, and now we have a group of people to build a government. The people that don't disagree, they're not in the conversation. According to the scriptures, 90% of the people, 90% of us are going to die through this, brothers and sisters. We're talking is solutions. I know some black people are all trying to knock each other down. Blah, blah, blah. It ain't about that, brother. No one is knocking no one down. What we're saying is Islam was never the religion for our people. According to Psalms 83, it was the Arabs and Esau who conspired against us so that to cut us off from being a nation so that we could never remember our name and nation and God. Islam was never the way. The Roman Christianity was never the way. We made a mistake in relating our oppression to the words of the Bible. We thought that the white man and the Arab man got the oppression out of the Bible, and they didn't. See? That's why he looked to stare us from it and say that, no, it's tampered. No, you didn't take that literal. Oh, no. Why? Because if you took it literal, who else could it be? Who else would it relate to? That's why they didn't want to come on the show, because we're calling it the task. And I know they are afraid because why? They got to walk a tight line of political correctness with these organizations or they lose their funding. We're going to touch more on this. Hey, we invited the Nation of Islam on. We invited Wesley Muhammad on. 1 week he said he had a family matter, didn't come in. The second, he didn't come on. But then he said he heard the broadcast. We had one of Farrakhan's family members on it and didn't like the way that went. So he decided not to be on the show altogether. And you know what? That's fine. But I'm just bringing out the points that we were prepared to discuss. And guess what? Even though it may not feel good, sometimes we must get through these friction conversations to get to solution. We may not agree on everything, but at least we can put something out there that will have us to think about something different. Because what? It seems like everyone has an opinion, and all these smart people with all these prestige and all this, and yet our people are going further and further down into hell with no direction. Let's not recognize how smart we are anymore. Or did you know this? Or did you know that? Or yeah, I knew this. And it becomes what you would call a swagger contest, opposed to us really looking at the scenarios and saying, you know what? This is what happened. This is who we are. This is how we get out of this condition. And we can't look to the white man, Arab man, or any other religion. We can't go into New Age. We can't go into Buddhist. We can't follow Oprah. Oprah didn't put us this. Let's see how we would get out of this. See? Even if you don't believe the Bible. You know why you don't believe the Bible? Because you didn't read it. That's the problem. Let someone else tell you that something was bad in it. You let someone else relate your situation and your scenario to the white man. Got it out of the Bible. You let someone tell you that. Someone told you that. You didn't read it for yourself. Because guess what, brothers and sisters? No people out here, especially our people, black people, people of color, you can't read this Bible and not relate yourself to it. It's an impossibility because the Bible is you. Think about this. John the Revelator on the island of Patmos was exiled from Rome. The Romans exiled him. This is in Roman secular history too. Why? They didn't want to martyr him. They wanted to throw him in prison, but every prisoner threw John in, what? He was converting the people in prison. Who they throw in prison now? They put him on an island, the island of Patmos, and that's where he received the revelation that actually speaks of the mark of the beast that's being instituted right now, almost over 15, 17, 1800 years after the Most High gave him the revelation. Check that out. Romans throwing people in prison. The Roman Catholic Church, which we know are Europeans, who they throw in prison? From Genesis to Revelation, brothers, this is from Adam to John the Revelator. It's talking about you. See, but they can't talk about this in the Nation of Islam. They can talk about the black man, but go into science. I thought you were dealing with a religion. What you talking about science? Yeah, they found the first black bones in Africa. With original man. You have black people standing up. Oh, man. How ridiculous are you? If he's a religious man saying that we are the first people, we are the original man, then he's supposed to be talking about Adam. Right? Not some bones scientists are trying to find so that they can predate the bones way past the timeline of the Bible. Therefore, it discredits the Bible on purpose while making you proud to be a black man. It's a script that can get you out, giving you the science. The Zionists, the same people that have stolen your identity. You know what? We're going to talk about this a little more, right? We're going to talk about this. Let's go to commercial. Come on, guys, let's give them a song real quick, and we're going to come back here with the people have to say. And I want to touch more on, is the Nation of Islam or the other religion the solution for the black man? And then we're going to talk about the ideologies and the things that Elijah Muhammad, quote unquote, said was the solutions for people. And we're going to compare it to the solutions in the Bible. And you tell me, is that the way? Come on, give us a song.
You see, this song is dedicated to all the people who just came into the truth and lost a lot of friends and family members because they decide to stand for righteousness. Let this song be a form of comfort unto you. And remember when Yeshua Christ said, "He that endureth to the end shall be saved." So it's going to be a long road. It's going to be a road full of temptation. But just remember to be strong. Call upon the Most High. You know? Blessings.
Be my strength, Ahayah, be my strength. As I chat this simple word, only you alone I can depend. Be my strength, Ahayah, be my strength. Tell me to do like Yeshua did, keep all the commandments. Chanting to this simple word. Temptation, the materialistic things, and even girls can't hang out with no evil man. The hang out with the people the most I recommend. Have to break away, I'm a life of an Eden. I'm in this Sabbath class reading the scriptures with the Hebrew them. We read the scriptures and then we prophesy. TMH Ahayah is the name of the Most High. Be my strength, Ahayah, be my strength. As I chat this simple words, only you alone I can depend. Be my strength, Ahayah, be my strength. Help me to do like Yeshua did, keep all the commandments. Is a natural mystic flowing to the air, to the air. Sound the trumpet so the children can hear. Yeah, yeah. The devil wanna see us fall. We gonna keep the laws, gonna keep them all. We go down on our knees to the Father we call. Tell him to help us stand us tall. We backslide, make a confession. We don't have time, in a transgression. High meditation, tell him the Most High lies in session. Give it a reckon. It's sinful life when you're the pants, the old for a mission. To seal up a higher name in tens of thousands. Be my strength, Ahayah, be my strength. I shot this simple word, only you alone I can depend. Be my strength, Ahayah, be my strength. Help me to do what Yeshua did, keep all the commandments. Don't surround yourself with lawbreakers, they will bring you down. And anywhere that you are, try to make it holy ground. Don't define yourself with action, meditation and sound. Keep my head above water so I won't drown. demonic possession is upon the rise, and them a move up in a disguise. Try to have a regular conversation, always turn out in a bad vice. Me recognize, so enough of them demons dwell inside. That's why me ask Ahayah to be my guide. That's why me say be my strength, Ahayah be my strength. As I trust this simple world, only you alone I can depend. Be my strength, Ahayah be my strength. Help me be do like Ahayah did. Keep all the commandments. Be my strength, Ahayah be my strength.
Brothers and sisters, don't ever drop your guard. We're always in a spiritual warfare. They're always waiting for that moment.
Be my strength, Ahayah be my strength. As I track this sinful world, only you alone I can depend.
Okay, we are back. All right. Are back. Now, a few other things that I wanted to talk about. We're talking about the rise of the Nation of Islam and other religions also out of the civil rights movement. And the reason why we're just magnifying the Nation of Islam, but not exclusively talking about that, is because there was a guest, Wesley Muhammad, a minister who was invited, who said he'd come on the show, and eventually, denied request based on the conversation we had with Farrakhan's, I think, granddaughter. But anyway, I tell you, usually when shows come on, you invite people, and it's usually them being experts, and usually the host is usually on the side and stuff like, well, tell us what you're doing out there right now. What you doing in the community? And then they'll just let you talk. But no one is being called to task at all on anything. No one is asking questions like, haven't we done this before? And what a long-term solution opposed to these Band-Aids that lead us to nowhere. And you know what? I believe that it should be some level of accountability when it comes to hosts in these particular conversations or broadcasts. It shouldn't be because of an expert, you should let them bring on what they have to say, not realizing the long-term impact on the people. Like for instance, when Umar Johnson came on the radio show, eventually hung up on the show. And guess what? We even have Israelites, people who to our one moment. We have I was mentioning when it comes to that, I think I lost my thought because God just sent me something. I was on the means of what I was saying.
We have Israelites as well.
Yeah, we had Israelites who would come on when Umar Johnson and make comments concerning how they wish the conversation would have went a lot differently because he have ideas that are beneficial for the community, right? And to me, when I heard that, I even though I respect what they have to say, usually in my mind, I'm saying, you know what? I don't think they get it. Because when someone say they have an idea of having a black school outside of what the other nations are doing against us, realizing how we learn as a people and so forth, it all sounds good. But if someone says that within this school, they're going to be pushing a doctrine against the Bible, you understand that they're going to teach about the gods of Egypt and all these other things, is that not leading us to the same gods that caused our fall?
Right.
So should I? So should I agree with a black movement strictly because it's black? That's utterly ridiculous. Matter of fact, he should be even more accountable to teach and do what's right than a black man teaching black students. So my questions were, I think those questions I put there for him were pertinent questions. My question was clear. I understand you don't believe the Bible, but because he made some claims that he's the reason of why he didn't follow the Bible, and I said, well, okay, I have a Bible in front of me. Can you show me that? Why? Because if you're going to be teaching black children, you must come to realization that every black child that comes in your school, 90% of them are going to be those children that mother and father believe in the Bible. Okay, so you're going to have to understand that and deal with them accordingly. So you can't teach someone strictly from a pro-black stance. It's utterly ridiculous. We didn't fall because we were black. We fell because we broke laws as the children of God, which is actually written in records, in scrolls. You understand? So I know a lot of people say, well, this conversation, and a lot of things what the brother Umar Johnson say, a lot of things he say concerning what the school system is doing is correct. No doubt about it. Right? But then, how is it you're going to take our people out of the school and bring them into heathenistic customs that led to their fall in the first place? We were following these religions and this train of thought and these schools of black consciousness before we fell. And if it was at one time, brothers and sisters, that all of our schools where we live was us teaching. But we still didn't make it through. We went into captivity. So shouldn't we go back to those schools and say, well, okay, this led to my captivity. Should I make another school like this, or should I like we have? So someone needs to call them a task. Especially if you're talking about teaching our black children.
Is anyone trying to raise millions?
Task and calling people to task and challenging their libido because they don't want to support an all black school. It's not that they don't want to support an all black school. It's just that, like I said, the directives have to be with people who are going to put their children in school. The directives and what's in the school have to agree with what the parents want their children to be taught. That's all that is. You're pushing Egyptology or any Africanism on my child. And I don't think nothing is wrong with that, because I have history that predates our people in Africa. We ran into Africa running from Roman persecution. We were the people of Israel. That's all we're saying. So don't just go into the wilderness with the place that the middle passage between our country and our demise. Africa is the middle passage. Africa is the wilderness. That's all we're saying. Why are you going to get us stuck in Africa when in Africa, if it was the way, we wouldn't be in this condition right now?
Like you mentioned before, Israel is, like you mentioned before,
it's part of Africa. Exactly. So only thing I'm doing is, what we're doing is broadening the conversation, because you're not going to have black children in your school that agree with your religion, your way of thinking. That's just not the way it is. And that's why I'd always go back to, before we have any schools, why can't we come together and see originally how and what happened to us? Because what happened to us was a spiritual phenomenon. It was beyond what you may think within our society. Only the hand of God could have done this to us. This was a spiritual intervention. There's no way in the world the nations who are weaker than us could have done this to us. Okay? So we have to deal with this from a spiritual aspect also, outside of the nation's religions. Okay? Outside of Christianity, the Roman Catholic wine of Babylon, her whore doctrine. I can deal with the Bible and tear it apart. The Bible rips Christianity and the whore Babylon apart. The Bible does. Okay? We can tear down Islam in the Bible all the way. Why? Because it's clear cut. The promise did not go to Ishmael. The promise went to Isaac. Genesis the 17th chapter. Hagar the Egyptian and the Ishmaelite son Ishmael was kicked out. The promise went to Isaac. Isaac had a son named Jacob. Jacob had a promised son. Had promised sons, 12 tribes of Israel. Through them came the law, statutes, and commandments. Those statutes we broke, and it led to our captivity, cut and dry. So that was a spiritual intervention that came in because we broke the laws of God written. Therefore, a spiritual intervention must come through again to God out of this. The same God that placed us in this. Not the gods of the Egyptians. The Egyptians enslaved us. Not the gods of the other nations. Their religion over us. So the only thing we're doing is calling all these quote-unquote leaders to task and saying, okay, we can relate to all of us being black people. Yes, we can all relate to that. Now what? We're still being influenced by the same nations who destroyed us. The law, statutes, and commandments are clear on how to run a nation and how to operate in righteousness if we're willing to follow it as a people. Okay. Real quick, have to make some announcements real quick for the brothers and sisters out there to understand. Okay, that's fine. One moment here. One moment. All right. Before I go into a few of the points, the other points, we were looking to discuss on the show real quick. If the guest would have showed up, but it's fine. We have our own little show. It's good. Let's see here. All right, let me put this out there real quick. I want to put it out there to say that our brothers and sisters should support those who have supported the work and who actually operate within the church to bring needed products, advice, and care to our community. And we want to put it out there for customs design by Sister Riri. She make Bible covers, meat treats, and more. Custom designs by Sister Riri. All right. Make sure you support that. Shea and Company Consulting. You need professional legal advice. A lot of people don't know Shapat here beside me. Mark, he is a lawyer, a financial lawyer, and he's a lawyer in other areas. He handles all our law work. So if you need some consultation in financial law or whatever, he has credentials, and it's called Shea and Company Consulting. Okay. Also, we want to put up there's a book called Recovering from Autism. One Family's Journey of Hope and Healing. Okay. And this particular book is really a godsend. It's something that we can utilize, understanding that they're looking to metal poison our children through serious metal toxicity. Okay, that's a tongue tire there. So, Recovering from Autism, Recovering from Autism is a great book, and make sure you look into this to protect our children from mental toxicity. Toxicity, yes. All right. What else we have here? All right. Desired Promise, natural products including hair butters, body butters, scrubs, and more. Desired Promise. And these are a lot of banners. A lot of these banners we have on our webpage. You can actually go on and support the work there. Heavenly Treasure, another. In Heavenly Treasure, you have your essential oils, information on healing, well-being, and more. We have the WOS, Herbal Health, quality health supplements with only pure nutrients. These are which is supporting the banners on our webpage. Mm-hmm. Another one is we are pleased to announce our newest members to the GOCC Business Network. Okay, it's a business network. Barack Rapah, naturally, with Sister Eliona, wonderful, loving, caring sister, and she have natural health, diet, and lifestyles, and she's a consultant for all of this, natural health, diet, and lifestyle. Okay, we also, last but not least, have the Herbal Health Review. Did we do that already? Herbal Health Review? Okay, Herbal Health Review. Yeah, I see it. Herbal Health Review, natural health consultations, and herbal remedies from Dr. Truman Burst. I don't even know how I didn't realize that, because we have supported him and he helped many people within the church too. So we have Truman Burst, and support him as much as you can also. All right, let's get back into it now. All right, I have to plug and support our brothers and sisters who support us, so, All right. Okay, getting back in real quick. Now, one moment here. I'm between two computers, so work with me, brothers and sisters here. Okay. Now, a few weeks ago, I had Lone Wolf. She was on, I think, a daughter or granddaughter of Minister Farrakhan. For those who didn't see that particular broadcast, you can go on YouTube and just type it in, Nahajda Lone Wolf, okay, interview with the Gathering of Christ Church, okay? And through that, we noticed, and I was going to ask this question to the brother also, what is the Nation of Islam's stance on homosexuality? And why? Because it seems like she was taken aback when we asked, do she agree or disagree with Sodom and Gomorrah? And she says, well, I disagree with sodomy. I'm like, well, what about lesbians? And she said that she said, next question. And see, I'm saying is these activists are compromising with the same immorality that's destroying us internally within our communities. Right. How can we say we're for our people and agree with the ills that are destroying them? Everyone knows that homosexuality is a sin. It's a sin. And this is not judging no one, it's the truth. It's a sin. So we should be able to take a stance against sin and not fear us losing some financial backing if we take a stance for right.
Real quick, too, that sin is one of, if not the worst sin, because in our modern world, it gets legal protection for the sin. Murderers don't get legal protection unless you wear a badge, of course. But nonetheless, murderers and rapists and all the other sins, they don't get protection.
Exactly.
The way the Sodom.
So it's as if they're getting legal protection, like you're mentioning, to destroy us internally and focus on destroying families.
Right. And if you point it out, you get these other sins put on you.
Yeah.
You could get murdered. You could get thrown in jail. All these other things.
See, but here's the deal, though. We all know it's wrong. My problem is people that are taking political stances and claiming they're standing up against injustices are ignoring the same worse injustices amongst us. How can you say that, well, Black Lives Matter and da-da-da-da-da and this, that, and the other, and then allow a homosexual to operate freely amongst your people as if it's okay?
Right.
And knowing that whatever taught that we are with our allowed to children say, I mean, it must be okay. Eventually, it will. So, but because, let me tell you, a lot of these groups that are taking, that have a voice within our community, if you take a hard stance against homosexuality, they will take all your funds away and persecute you and prosecute you too. But who's willing to take a stance against it, even if it means losing financial backing or losing your political voice amongst those who you quote unquote offend? And that's another thing. We're walking on eggshells with this politically correct garbage. I think they have created politically correctness to destroy us internally.
It's like it's almost like what they call it, anti on steroids. You can't say anything against Jewish people because they throw that card at you.
Exactly.
So this political correct thing, you can't say certain words because they'll throw that at you. It's
the same thing. But our people know it. In order to get these grants, especially now that LBGT is the new quote unquote civil rights movement that Barack Obama have championed within his administration. Since that's the next movement, all the political money for civil rights now is now what you would call merged with them included. At one time, the civil rights was almost reparations, like I mentioned before, for the children of slaves. It was more so trying to make up financially, knowing that that's what the civil rights movement was about. It had nothing to do with someone's sexual preference. And now the
looking at the thing, sorry to cut you off, but looking at the thing for how to govern people right, check out the Jedi mind trick. How is it they're jumping on the civil bandwagon when really their so-called issue is a moral issue?
It's a moral.
Sodomy is completely immoral.
Exactly. So they got to make it a civil right. When, like I said earlier, our laws in Scripture was moral, civil, ceremony, and dietary.
Right.
So when it comes to civility, civil, that have nothing to do with morality. That's a different set of laws with itself.
So you're trying to merge it.
They're trying to merge it and say it's civil right to want to, deal with a man dealing with another man. That's not a civil right. That's a moral decision behind closed doors. But again, it's deep that these people who claim that they are for our people aid and abet this behavior amongst our community. And I'm just pointing that out because that's a long list outside of homosexuality also. The only thing they can all agree with that will not rock boats or make it where, the only thing they can agree on is we're all black. Because that's that broad number that you can include everyone in. Right. But you'll ignore everything else. We have to get off of this we are black garbage. And because we're black, we have all things in common garbage. It's utterly ridiculous. And a matter of fact, that's where the enemy, that's where they would like us to stay. They don't want us to say, okay, we're the children of God according to Scripture. Why? Because when we make that statement as a community, now we are accountable to something. See? Now we are a people of law now. See? We can solve our own issues because the problems and the solutions are in the scriptures. I wanted to put that out there. We solve our issues now, but let me get back to the point. I think I went a little bit off the beaten path because there's something I wanted to bring out. I wanted to go back to, I said I was going to mention Muhammad had a campaign that came with the Nation of Islam. The campaign that land should be severed out strictly for black people so that we can govern ourselves. And I want to go back there. So that we don't have to worry about the oppression from the outside. We have our own military, our own protection, our own government, our own judges, our own teachers. It all sound good, don't it? But here's a question, and I want to actually put this out there for the audience. Do we give the rights? That means, do we make up the rights for this particular society? Or do we judge in this society according to a divine law? Right? Do we just make this up and sit around and throw enough stuff on the wall and see what sticks?
And with that, too, if you're making it up as you go along, obviously it's going to be like, hey, they're supposedly debating new laws.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't work clearly. If it works, why would you need new laws?
Yeah. There's divine laws that need no amendments. There's divine laws that can't be amended. Because amendment means you didn't get it right the first time. Therefore, it's not a divine law. And if you don't operate with the divine law, brothers and sisters, what happens is you become a debtor to the law itself. See? You become a debtor to it. And what I would like to relate to it is I look at when we talk to Christians, right? To Christians, well, listen, you need to follow the law of the Bible. And they say, well, you can't follow the law. Christ done away with that. If we try to follow, then we are debtor to it all. Oh, but you don't have a problem being a debtor to the American law or the English law or the Western world's law. You jaywalk, you get a ticket. You drive wrong, you get a ticket. You understand? There's all these laws upon laws to the point where now you are serving the law. You become a debtor, slave to the law. And they can always amend it if they want more money from you. You're not free. So in order for us to set up a society in which we don't fall to those perils, what divine law will we follow? See? I know people are looking at it and say, well, you know, it's interesting. What would we follow? See, those are the questions that lead to solution. Now, we're not talking about our problem, what the white man is doing to us. The solution.
Right. We're not a broken record anymore.
Exactly.
And
see?
Whichever Lord is chosen, are we choosing that?
Exactly. And see, now we can weed out those who are not really for progress. We don't need the Constitution. Anybody come with the Constitution, okay, we leave you at the door. Okay, we don't need that law because guess what? The Constitution was drafted, as they claim, from the original idea of biblical Judeo law.
Right. But even then, at that time, you had the so-called 3/5 of a man situation.
See, but by them drafting their own law, they can now minimize our worth in it. See? But in the Bible, our laws is, in Deuteronomy 7, it tells us that we are a special people. The Most High have chosen us to be a special people above all people on the face of the earth. So not only are we not 3/5 of a man in the Most High's law, right, we are above all people in the Most High's law. And so what they did when they drafted their own law, they say, you know what? We're going to make ourselves above all people. They're 3/5 of a man. At least in the Bible, the chosen people are the people. And they're the special people chosen by the Most High. Therefore, they are divine with their law. See? So I'm just speaking, I'm just putting it out there that we were never prepared under any of these religions to have a land for ourselves. It was a campaign. Now, what we need to look into is how much money was pumped into that idea that never came to fruition, and find out who got it. The idea was out there and everyone was up on it. People was joining and putting all their money into it because the talk was, we're going to have our own. It never happened. Where did the money go? See that? And then why? Because they'll shift the conversation someplace else where now they can raise money for something different, but yet we're standing still. These are the conversations we should have. Now, who knows? Maybe this broadcast right now could initiate some of these conversations. You understand? Maybe. Probably. Well, we can talk about it. But this is what we have to agree on. Because guess what? All of the Arabs in the Middle East, even though they have their quarrels and divisions amongst them, they all believe in Allah as their God. Monotheism from us. Before Muhammad was converted by the black Jews, I'm speaking of the so-called Prophet Muhammad, the Arabs had one God for each day of the year, 360 gods under a lunar year. See? We taught them monotheism. So they realized power of believing on one God, and through that, they gained power over us. So they can agree in Allah because it empowers them to, that's what they use to enslave us. So Allah is our enemy, right? So how can we come together when we can't agree on one God? The Arabs can, and look what they have received. The Europeans can, they're pagans. Zeus is Satan, and they all agree on him, with him. If you don't believe me, look how many atheists, I know atheists that celebrate Christmas. Okay? When I say I know them, I've met atheists who devoutly celebrate Christmas. Why? Because it have nothing to do with Christ. It have everything to do with the paganism, the Satan they follow. What I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is all nations can agree on one God, us, except the children of the Most High, except us. The Arabs called on Allah. They enslaved us. Okay? It was the Arabs who conspired with the Roman Empire. And guess what? Islam was financed by the Romans. It was Islam that conspired against us to put us in slavery. And Farrakhan spoke about that in his speech not too long ago, during the time when they were looking to take down and kill Gaddafi. That the Middle East, even Gaddafi knew the injustices in the hand that the Muslim man, that the Arab man had in our demise. I'm bringing it right back now. So what is our divine law as a people, and who is our God? Or are we just going to chase what the Arab man do and follow the rock he tell us to bow and face towards? And I even have proof. We went into it in the academy this weekend. We have proof. Circumstantial proof. Secular history. That the original Muslims, all of them faced Jerusalem until Muhammad's people got mad that we didn't recognize, that Israel, our people, the black Jews, didn't recognize the Arabs' new religion, Islam. A lot of you don't know that Islam is one of the newest religions on earth. It was Persian mythology before that. He got mad because the hierarchy and the wise men of the black Jews didn't recognize his new religion. And they stopped praying to Jerusalem 3 times a day and began to face Mecca 5 times a day. Why am I going here? Because a lot of you saying, well, you confuse me. You're talking about black empowerment and seeing you talking about religion. You can't confuse the two. They're two separate things. You're asleep if you believe that. Okay? The governments that are running the earth today is under a religion. Okay? It's a religion. The world government under the Queen of England is a religion. Saudi Arabia and the way the Muslims are operating in the Middle East, their kingdoms are ran with the religion at the helm. It has always been that way. When the Most High God delivered us out of Egypt, He was not only delivering us from the hand of our oppressors, He was releasing us from the religion that was over the country, so that we could be free to serve the true God with divine laws. Hold up now. There's other places I want to go, but let's talk to the people. Let's talk to them. What do we do? Do we give the right to establish our own laws to whoever based on their degrees? And guess what? These degrees crack me up too. Well, I'm doctor this and I'm doctor that. We need a place of our own. We need a school we need something of our own. And you got your doctorate from who? The white man. So you're going to get your education, your doctorate from him. You're westernized and don't even realize it and saying, I'm pro-black and I'm here to bring some laws that can bring us back together as a black people. No, it's not going to work that way. We must find the divine law. We must find the God that put us in this condition. Only He can get us out, and we must follow that together. That's a start. And still, we're not going to be delivered but through a mighty hand after that. But that's a start. Anything to say on that, man? Are you ready to call and talk to me?
I think. Oh, dang.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, with the so-called Islam thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure many of you have heard the so-called story as to how Islam came about outside of history when they try and convert you.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing that goes on, at least where I'm from in the UK, is people weren't following the laws back then. Right?
Yeah.
So a new way had to come up so people could follow.
Yeah.
So that's how Islam came about. That's how the Quran came about. But surely people aren't following the Quran now. So that means we're high time, we're overdue a new way because people aren't following the Quran.
That's a good point.
I just wanted to put that out there for anyone who comes across that, how can I say, marketing ploy by Muslims.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, they could only sell, like I've mentioned in the academy, they could only sell that to a people who had no idea concerning their past history. I'm talking about Islam in itself. They can only sell that to a people who had no history to draw from. I'm going to tell you. And like I said, it became an opportunity to divide us. At least we were together as black slaves, Christians.
Right.
They come in, and now you got the Arabs that jacked everything and took everything from us in the name of Allah. You understand? And no one is even talking about it. And then you go in the Middle East and see how they treat you when it comes to you talking about Allah and all that. You know what they can agree on? When their religion is controlling you and taking everything from you, and them and their people is at the helm as the authority. That's when they can agree with you being in Islam. That's what I wanted to talk about tonight is, isn't it true that Islam began, it started through the sword. The conversions were through the sword, where you either convert or die. Is that true? And if that's true, How is that any different than what we claim the white man did in Christianity then? Can you say that's the way of life for us when it began with the Arabs killing and raping our women and killing the men? If it's built on blood and it began on blood, it's still blood. I don't care how many years later. It's still blood. And now that's the way of life. That's what's going to get us out of this? No. Some people might say, "Well, we always had the Bible, and what good did it do us?" We wasn't learning out of the Bible. We were dealing with a doctrine that was teaching us to overlook what was in it. A book, and you have certain people tell you, "Well, don't read this part, and don't read that part, because that doesn't matter anymore." Now your view is askew. You don't even understand that you're being to actually ignore the things that pertain to you. So it's not that we had the Bible and it didn't work. We never used the Bible. That was the problem. We didn't go into it for ourselves and relate ourselves to it. Come on now. Let's talk to some people. Come on, Gocc. Let's get some people up in here. Come on, guys, and what's the phone calls? Talk to me.
Shalom.
Shalom, how are you?
Shalom. Hello?
Shalom, I'm here. Talk to me.
Oh, I did want to say that you mentioned before one of the biggest changes to being in the truth is that you actually read the Bible. And I was looking at the word read in the Hebrew, and it appears to be the same word, at least in the Strong's Concordance, as convocation. So when we come together, it's the same word, convocation, as read. And my question was, one of the commandments is to honor your father and mother. And we know Abraham, when he left Ur of the Chaldees, he left his father. And
hey, Brother Greg, I would like to keep this in the context of our show tonight.
Okay, it is in a way. In Job 8:8, it says to search out your heritage, and according to the Bible, this is our heritage. Search out your forefathers.
Absolutely.
And so that was kind of where I was, in a sense, going with it, is that we, then it also says in the Psalms, it says to forsake your mother and father for the truth. So, a lot of times, especially in our society, we say, well, it don't matter who I am or where I come from. And
okay, well, one point we got to go on because we got to make sure we have 2 minutes per call. But one point is a lot of people relate to the heritage of the Bible because they don't believe they are the people, so they relate themselves to other heritages, like in Africa, like in Egypt. Our point is we've tried all of those; they didn't work. We still don't realize who we are out of Africa for real. We're not Hamites. We are Israelites. We start looking at it from that point now. So I understand what you're saying, but you have to realize you have a lot of experts out there, those that are educated, who feel they have looked to their heritage. But they've been pointed into the wrong direction. They believe them being pointed as Hamites or Africans was the right direction, and they feel that they found that direction alone, not realizing in Christianity as slaves, we were direct to believe that we were Hamites by the same people who oppressed us. So I am agreeing with you, but to realize, I think that a lot of our people did come to the conclusion that they should look into their heritage. They just don't know where to look. They don't know where their heritage began. And I think the whole thing is these shows is to start that particular conversation. If you're going to say you are Egyptian, prove you are Egyptian. If you're going to say you are a Muslim, give me the origin of Islam and show us how you are a Muslim when black people put Muhammad as black Jews. On and on and on. So we get into the root of it. But thank you, Greg. That was some good points. Okay, let's get the next call. And guys, do me a favor. When whoever the call is, why don't you type it in so that I can announce who the caller is, and then bring them in. All right, so that we can do it, in order, so that I can at least introduce the brothers and sisters here. One moment. Okay, we have Brother Edmund from Michigan. Okay, bring Brother Edmund in. Oh, he has a statement. Okay. And please keep your statements or questions down with 2 minutes so that we can get as many calls as possible.
Okay, hello?
Yes.
Hey, I want to speak on Farad Muhammad because, listening, following the GOCC, I learned to go to the origins. This Farad Muhammad. Farad Muhammad, he was a white man, supposed to be from a Dutchman, and I just, it's just kind of crazy how a Dutchman, a white man, could come to America to try to teach black people that about blackness, and they saying he was God and all these other blasphemies and things. I just don't understand how they, in their logic, how he brought this black religion, and he white himself, and if he was supposed to be God, why wouldn't he come as a black man? He had to disguise himself and all kind of excuses. This is just a statement. I just think that's just kind of crazy and hypocritical that that Nation of Islam was created by a white man.
You know what, Brother Edmund, that is a very good point you're making there. I mean, when you look at the origin of the Nation of Islam, they talk about Farad Muhammad, but most people don't even realize that Farad Muhammad was a quote-unquote white man. Now, of course, what would be wrong with that? Okay, he's a white man. There's nothing wrong with that. What comes in when you have a white man bringing a religion that's supposed to be for black people, and then teaching that amongst the black people who don't know any better, with them not realizing that the religion is coming from the same people that the Nation of Islam was calling the devil. You understand? So that's another thing. And if people realize some of the doctrine that people they believe that he was God incarnate, and that Muhammad was Elijah from the Bible to come, and by default, Elijah would pave the way. And you hear Farrakhan say it over and over again, that Elijah Muhammad would pave the way for the messenger. He's not saying, but what he's saying is he's the messenger. So he's saying that he's the place, that Christ is really a metaphor.
Yeah, like as if Elijah Muhammad was John the Baptist.
Yeah. So what we're putting out is people really need to do the research and realize that what's going on here. And on top of that, not too long ago, it was online where Farrakhan was speaking at a Shriners meeting that he admitted that he's a high degree Mason. I think this should have been communicated to those he's converting amongst the community to see if this is the religion, because we all know who's at the helm of Masonry, Jobulin or Satan. Lucifer, the enlightened one, is the god of Masonry. So, and you must believe one of the key religions to become a Mason, because when you get to certain degrees, they let you know at the top degree are really following Jobulin or Lucifer at the helm. So right there, I know the Bible tells me and shuns me from that.
Right.
See, that's that weighing we can do now and say, okay, if you're going to come in as a Shriner or Mason or whatever, you can leave that at the door. We know you're worshiping Satan. See, these are the conversations we can have to know who we can actually build with going forward. Right? Brother, good points. good points. But of course, we have to keep on going because we got 2 minutes. I'll let you make one more statement, then we can go to the next call.
Well, I just thank the Most High for, the spirit that's on you brothers and sisters, in the GLCC, and just keep up the good work.
Well, all praises to the Most High. And you know what? After hearing this broadcast today, I can understand why the brother didn't want to come on. Because we were going to ask him about all that. We were going to ask him about Fard Muhammad. We were going to ask him about the 600 brothers, black Jews that were slaves because they didn't want to convert to Islam. They were already Jews and black Christians following the Torah and the New Testament. There was no need for a new religion, and they were killed for standing pat with what they believed. We're going to ask them about all that. The blood that's the hands of those who call themselves Imams and Arabs, who built Islam on the blood. Because don't forget, all these converts came from going into Africa and Spain, and they got so many members. Their key initiative was to do what? To have a missionary to convert the black Jews. So I was going to have this conversation. This is how you know you're still a slave. When you're still following the God of your oppressors within your religion. That's how you know you're still a slave. Where they don't have to put the shackles on you. If they can control you and give you their idea of God, they'll have you do anything they need you to do. And that's why the Arabs have come and raped us dry within our communities. Right in our face. Took everything because why? We have been obedient slaves, bowing, hitting our head on a rock, scarring our head 5 times a day, facing Mecca, not realizing that same place that we're facing, 600 of our people at one time was murdered on spot because they didn't convert during the beginning times of the rise of Islam. Look it up.
I will.
There's books. Hold up. Matter of fact, hold up now. And we're going to put out some references for the people so that they can actually do their own research, brothers and sisters. Listen, this is you can look at Satan's Angels Exposed. You can look into The Age in Faith, A History of Medieval Civilization. A History of Medieval Civilization. Also, you can look into Rudolph Art Windsor, not only Nature Knows No Color Line, but From Babylon to Timbuktu. It gives you the history and the references of everything we're saying here. And guess what? We have to, you hit one and go back in again with it so we can get a new person in. But I wanted to say this real quick. God, let's next call. Thank you, brother. You've been great. We're going to say this. We have to stop believing on something because or backing someone because they're eloquent and they seem to be for our cause. You must know the religion and the spirit that's guiding them. They're going to always say what you want to hear. But if they are Masons, if they are over these groups like Islam, if they are being promoted through Christian powers and Zionist powers, you know that they are against your God. Know that. They'll never talk about solutions. Magnify the problems which keeps us in our condition. They'll just magnify the problem so that we can all agree that there's a problem there. But no one will come up with a solution because we can't agree on nothing. We can't agree who we are. We can't agree on one God. We everything the Bible says we would be. Lost sheep. The lost sheep for the house of Israel. That's who we are, the lost sheep. We can point out the problem, but the problems are only being magnified usually so that we can come up with solutions. That's what the problem should be for. That's what anyone with common sense would think. What's the next call here? Come on, let's go. Okay, all right. Brother Awakwa. Okay, Brother Awakwa from the 215 area. Come on.
Shalom, this is Elder Ricard. This is Akawa, Elder Gocc, Brother Shapat. Hey, listen, it's really nothing to say when you get on, Elder Ricard. It's just so solid. It's real. I mean, anybody can feel it if you want to hear it. I don't even know what to say. All I can say is that I encourage everyone. I hear a lot of a backdrop in the phone. I hear doubling. But anyway, okay, look, what I want to say is anybody that's on the line right now, you need to be in that academy so you can get some deep understanding. And all praise to the Most High, by Shem Yeshai, even my brother. I never would have thought he would get this understanding. But the truth is so real. You can't refute it. You can't dispute it. You can't nothing with it. The truth is the truth. We the children of Israel. We've all inherited lies, and now the truth is out there. Anyone, it's not for us, just for us. All nations. I don't care if you putting sugar on a damn excuse me. I don't care if you dealing with idols and all that. Because I've been approaching brothers. Stop that. Come on into the truth. Put that down and learn the ways of the Hebrew God, Ahayah, who brought forth his son, Yeshaya, for our sins. You understand? We had a Lord's sacrifice. That's our power. And we his select children. And now the Most High is bringing forth his children in these times to give you all the truth, all nations. Let's come on to the God of all gods, the power of all powers. And let's get back in line with what's going down. Because I'm going to tell you, Ricard, it's hard to even speak when you talk. I just listen. Because I thank the Most High for you, and I thank the Most High for the church. And I'm going to fall back and let it go like it go. Shalom.
Okay. Well, thank the brother. All praises be to the Most High. And I have to say this. Hey, people talk about it. People always, I hear some people say, well, listen, what y'all doing? What y'all doing? If they doing something. If what they doing is part of our demise, is that something we want? Showing people the truth, breaking down the lies that have enslaved our people, telling our people, of course, you may be doing good things as far as charity and all that. No one can take away from the things that you're doing out of the kindness of your heart. But why give your credit to another? Why do charity under the guise or under the gods who've enslaved us? Why don't you do charity under the Most High God? You understand how? And people say, well, they give out food, be there for the community. Listen, so do Caesar. The government give out welfare checks. The government give out cheese and food and all that. They're also selling us to hell. They're selling our souls to hell. They're destroying us. So we have to also get out of this thing where, and the Bible tells us, a gift spoileth the heart. We have to get out of this thing because we see someone doing something that is better than nothing at all. We need to direct our charity aright and not give the credit of our charity to another God and another people. See, we can still be charitable, but let's serve our God. Because a gift spoileth the heart. Okay, let's get the next call. Come on, guys. And guess what? I know they're going to see this online or whatever the case. And if they see it, they don't even have to respond. They don't even have to respond to it. Look, some of the history brought forth. On top of that, look at the points we're bringing out that should be magnified and examined. And let's talk about it.
I know. I got the
okay, Gocc, what's going on there?
Hanging on the back side that I just ordered. Remember, ordered that both of them sides, the same side.
Gocc, what's going on there? What's happening here?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. The next call we have is from the 510 area code. Let me go in now.
Okay, your phone is still chopping up. Okay, who's the next caller? Okay, from the 510 area code. Okay, I'm feeding back on your line, guys.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All praises be to the Most High. Hashem Yeshai. Wah wah wah. I'm just listening in. I don't really have a question or a statement.
Okay, brother, just hit one and go right back. Hit one and go right back into the queue.
All right. Shalom.
Okay, hit one and go back into the queue.
I did. Blessings.
Okay, Okay, one moment. We get the next call. The next caller? Okay, let me see if I can get the dash. Okay, one moment. I got it. Are you still on, brother?
Hello?
Hello, can I help you?
Hello?
Okay, we have someone here from the 215 area code. How are you?
Shalom.
Yes, it's Elder Ricard. Who's this?
Hi, this is Brother Antonio, Elder. How you doing?
Okay, this is who?
This is Brother Antonio. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. 2 minutes. Talk to me. What's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to make the comment that in reference to this whole Nation of Islam thing, years ago, back in 2008, I believe it was, I wasn't looking to convert to Islam, but I did attend the Million Man March, the Million More movement, actually. And I remember Farrakhan starting. Number one, I want to say Farrakhan made millions off of that march. That's one thing that a lot of people don't know, is he made millions. I know just to attend the march, if you were doing it the right way, you had to register. And the registration was $70 in itself. Not to mention, they took another donation at the march where they asked everybody give a certain amount. And, I mean, most people were giving at least $20, and of course, we all know it was over 1 million people there. So they raised millions of dollars in that march. But one of the biggest things is he said they were going to start these ministries, a ministry of medicine, a ministry of agriculture, a ministry of education. And, of course, all these ministries were going to be places where, number one, with the ministry of agriculture, we would grow, black people would be able to grow their own food and feed ourselves. Of course, the ministry of medicine was going to be our own black doctors and us practicing going to ourselves to be medicated and or to see a physician, and so on and so forth. This was back in 2008. He made multi-millions of dollars off of us. None of this stuff has been put into place. To me, that says it all when it comes to Islam. That says it all when it comes to Farrakhan. Now, I mean, we all know he's a good speaker. But when you look at the message that's going out now with this whole let's get all our young men together and we stand up in the streets, I mean, come on, that's suicide. Stand up to who with what? We don't have a military. We don't have guns. If we did have guns, they outnumber us in guns and to the point where it's not even talking a conversation worth speaking of. So to tell somebody to do something like that, to oppose a force that's way more powerful with its gun power and its gun might or weaponry might, that's just sheer suicide. So people need to wake up to what's really going on with that. And I also want to say I love you, Elder. I love all my elders, Elder Gocc, my Elder Gabar, all the deacons. I pray for you all, as well as our brothers and sisters daily, and to keep up the good work, and that the Most High strengthen you all to do the work that needs to be done. And that's all I really wanted to make a comment on.
The water, brother. I don't even know how much what to say after that. I thank you, brother. I thank you for your sincerity and the truth, and I'm proud to be your brother. And let's continue to fight. All right. All right. Shalom.
All right. Shalom.
And like the brother was mentioning, he made a great point that these marches, nothing ever changes for the better in our communities after these marches. The only thing that happens is tens of millions is dropped from our community within these particular marches, and the hierarchy and political and religious positions to lead the sheep there are breaking the pie. They're breaking the cut because they're getting all their people there for a feel good moment, in which nothing ever trickles down within the community. You know, it's not meant to trickle down in the community. The reality is, we were placed in this condition by the Most High, and no man shall buy you. That means redeem you or save you out of your condition. And it's a shame, because if you could lead 1 million people and show them 1 million people that they're the children of God, children of Israel, and they should be keeping the commandments, do you think they would allow him to have a march where he tells all the people there and the black people in the audience they're the children of God, the children of Israel spoken in the Bible, and the people over in Israel are not the true Jews the Bible speaks of, and that God is calling the same people who went through the Red Sea into the land of Canaan? He's calling them out of the mindset and America before it's utterly eradicated. He can't do that because that's not written in the Quran. That's written in the Bible. And believe me, if he was to make the statement I've just made right now publicly at a march, that would be his last speech. He know we the children of Israel. You understand? But guess what? Even the guy, the Ben Ami, who passed not too long ago. You don't want to speak too ill of the dead, and I'm not going to go there. The only thing I'm going to say is they had a movement in which they called that man the Messiah. That movement of Israelites wasn't the right movement. Savior is going to save us. And when you tell the truth concerning that, be prepared to be marked like Christ. Be prepared to be ridiculed and persecuted, not just publicly. So, of course, we know that he can't come out with things, but if he's going to take a platform as a spiritual leader, then the onus is on him when these people get there. If you want to get their money, okay, you're taking all their money, at least tell them the truth. What's going to happen one day, what you're going to have to call for if something don't change. How many years we hear that the thermometer is about to bust? Is that we're here at the top, we're not taking it no more, and I may call the black man is not going to take it no more, and we will call for action if it's necessary. How long have you heard that mess? When listen, we're not supposed to even take action against them, man, brothers and sisters. We have to understand why the Most High God put us in this condition. Fall on our knees and pray to him and beg him to deliver us. See? Not you understand? So the whole deal is when you get all these people together, okay, you got them together, tell them the truth. Tell them, listen, Let's face towards our homeland. Let's pray to our God, God of Israel, who led our forefathers out of Egypt, that he would send forth the Holy Spirit to deliver us and help us in these times of trouble against our enemies, like David prayed when he prayed against enemies round about that was looking to conspire against them in Psalms 83. Tell our people that we are the children of God, and the Most High will soon release us as the children of Israel, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Platform like you can't march down on Washington that. They'll let you tell our people to follow Islam all day long, because that's a slave religion. That religion has been an integral part of our oppression. The white man ain't the first man that have enslaved us as citizens. The Arabs did it too. And we are divided between the two bastard religions, Christianity and Islam. Okay, I guess we can only take but a few more, and then we'll pick it up, and hopefully, one day, one of them do come in, and we'll talk about it. We'll get one of them up in here soon enough, and they defend their religion. They can come on. We can invite them on. We invite anyone from the Nation of Islam, come on and tell us how Islam, the Nation of Islam, and Islam is the way for our people. We'll open the microphone, won't say nothing, and you show us what benefit has Islam been for our people since the civil rights movement. Bring it. Where is the improvement in our communities? What is better? Are we better off, or were we better off as slave Christians? At least as slave Christians, we understood who the enemies were, and we understood and loved our families. And we feared our God. Even though we thought that Christ was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed God, man, fear was instilled in us to respect and honor ourselves. Or are we better off now? What has the Prophet Muhammad brought? That Arab, what did he bring to liberate us? What can he teach us? So, we give you all the floor. Tell us what do Muhammad and Allah have for us? Give us the solution. What happened to the movement of a land on for ourselves, and what happened to the money that was raised for it? All right. We can only take a few more calls here.
Elder God, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Elder?
I can hear you 100%. How you doing, man? Good to hear you.
Yeah, man. Man, bless Elder, man. I've been trying to get this computer to work properly all evening, and praise the Most High, it's working now. So, how much time do we have left?
Come on, just come on. Don't worry about the time. Come on.
Yes, man. I'm listening. I'm listening, and Islam. Like here in the UK, Islam is one of the biggest religions here. You understand, and like you said earlier, that brand of the Nation of Islam is not accepted amongst quote unquote Arabs or quote unquote Asian people who practice Islam. You understand me? It's like it's a bastard religion within a bastard religion. So our people need to really examine that. You understand me? Examine it for what it is. I mean, you cover the point. Like you're saying, we can't just get together because it's black. We never fall from being black. We fell as a people, as a nation of people, because of who we are going against our God, and that is key. And all of these people that we see coming in, all of them, it's like all of them is the same. The Nation of Islam and the LGBT movement and all of them is the same thing. You with me? It brings no solution to the problem. It's just straight, like I said, everybody can come and highlight what's going on. You with me? It's easy. It's like some of these Israelites who only can read Deuteronomy 28. It's easy to see it. It's right there. You understand me? But when to go into the solution of the matter as to what is the core, or how do we come out of this, then that's where they stutter. That's where you start realizing that, listen, these people don't want us out of this condition. You understand me? They don't want us there. It's a money gain. It's a charity. You understand me? 1 million people marching and you still can't have a solution to the problem. You still can't form a nation. Is that not telling you something?
Hey, that's right on.
Give me 10 Hebrews right now, with all of us right now saying the same things, and give me a street corner, you see what happens. You understand me? Give me 10 man right now with saying the same thing right now, and watch us go on the streets and see, and you will see something. You will see something happen. But you have a million people coming together, and you still can't form a nation with that. That is evidence in itself that what you do is false. Because when a million of you come together today, tomorrow you go back to the same problem. With no solution, with no end. Just end up just leaving broke. But anyways, let me pass it back to you. Let me put the mic back on you. Brother Shapat, how you doing?
Chilling.
Doing good?
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother, man. I'm blessed. Just a bit, a bit annoyed right now with the system trying to keep me out,
Yeah, we getting there though.
Yeah, man.
So, hey, we the most I got you bringing that spirit over there. So, the devil don't want nothing to come out. Your computer be working fine until the show about to come on. But it's okay though. Hey, I'll tell you what, brother. It was one where these different religions or whoever they were would seize any opportunity.
Right.
Opportunity to bring what they felt was needed for our community.
As long as they thought we were
you know what, and that's one thing I respected about Malcolm X. So one thing I respected about Malcolm X that was a debate. I felt that he loved our people enough, given the opportunity to still bring forth his stance and his position on things, whether you agree or disagree. And that's one thing. Let me tell you something about truth. You're dealing with truth. Like if this brother felt or anybody felt that an interview wasn't conducted a certain type of way, that's fine. You have the spiritual prowess to come on, address that, and also understand. Let me tell you, if I'm listening to an interview and I understand where someone is coming from, I got enough time to structure my conversation and structure my broadcast or the way I'm going to handle it to where it doesn't matter what the agenda of the radio station is. You understand? Because I know exactly what we're trying to bring forth. I know that I say, listen, I don't care what the agenda of the show is. I know what I'm there to bring forth, that I'm commanded by the Most High to bring. People can wake up regardless of the agenda of the show. even if the announcer or whoever 100% disagree with you. If that's the case, when they're invited on CNN or Fox News or whatever the case is, why don't you turn them down? You know that they are against what you're about to bring forth, but why do you go there?
Right, an opportunity.
It's an opportunity, but you can't have that conversation with your brother that may disagree with you in hopes that conversation can bring a solution. No, that's too much of a conflict. But you can go to Fox, CNN, go to all that. Why? Because they're not calling you to task. They're utilizing you to do what? To fan the fire of racial tension, because this system needs that. They need the left-right paradigm. They need the divide to bring forth their order. Christ tells us a nation that divided against itself cannot stand. We're not inviting brothers or sisters on here to make them look better or to divide or make them or condescend on them. We're asking these questions so that even if you disagree, when you offer this show, you know what you're going to do? You're going to think. We may bring forth something that you may not disagree right now, but I have you think about it, because you probably never even thought about this perpetual rut we were in, and your participation, and how you have participated with it. So we understand why they're not coming on. You understand? We understand it. We know it. But the whole deal is, but you will go to other places that you know they trying to trap you. They trying to trap you and make you feel bad and all that, and they can't stand your guts. But you can't do that with your brothers, huh? And we will all look at them. They can't do this. That's what people be saying. Oh, we always trying to knock each other down. That's not the case at all. Think for a moment. How can we get through this if we don't go through the bad parts too? If we don't go through the friction and where the areas we disagree? Why we can just talk about where we can agree at, while the 100-pound gorilla is in the room that no one wants to speak about? That's really the issue that's going to tear us apart eventually. Why don't we talk about that first? Why don't we get that out of the way first? But they're willing to do this for the other nation. They don't want to come and deal with the disagreements we have amongst each other. And they say, well, we shouldn't do this publicly. You go out there publicly in the street and teach Islam. You go out there publicly in the street and indoctrinate our people into your religion that you think is true. And if it's right, you should be able to publicly defend it as true. You should be able to bring us the origin of your religion, how it came to be, and speak of the ills it has had against our people. And then tell us again why now we need to participate in it now. Are we asking for too much? I'm going to let you, since you're back again, thank you. I'm going to let you deal with the switchboard. I guess we'll take about 2 more phone calls. And we'll pray out and wish one Godspeed going forward. Have to prepare for the class Sabbath, and we have another academy coming down the line. So if you want to be in that academy, send email. We're in week 8 now.
Yeah, it'll be coming week 8.
We'll be in week 8, so we only have a month left in this one after this Sunday. So I know we start a new 3-month. It's every quarter. So if you want to participate in the next academy, even though we're probably not taking no more for this one, you can send an email to gatheringisone@AOL.com, and we can we can reserve you a spot for the next quarter, which will start in about a month from now.
Okay. All right. And just before we take the next caller in, Elderman, I'd like to say a big shalom and a big thank you to the people in the Netherlands who hosted me there last week this time. And to all the families that came down, who drove down from Belgium and all that, just so we could have that fellowship. It was really beautiful, and enough love to the people over there. The congregation is growing and doing well, man, and enough love to the brothers over there, Brother Santi, Brother Marvin, Brother Joel, Brother Stephen, you know, the brothers them who holding it down over there, man. You know, just keep doing it, and you know, may the Most High keep and protect you. All right. All right. Let me move to the next caller here. We're going to the 770 area code.
Okay.
Hello.
Shalom.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? This is Marie France. I'm just listening. I don't know how I got in. Hi, Elder Call, Elder Gocc, and Brother Shabbat. It's Marie France from Georgia.
How you doing?
All right, my sister. Let me just put you back in the queue, and then just push one, and that will take you out. All right. A lot of people for some reason are being put in the queue by accident, so we do apologize. Let's go to the next one from the 316 area code.
Shalom, Mark.
Shalom.
This is Brother Maloney.
Shalom.
Wichita, Kansas.
Hey, Maloney, I got 9 seconds. Come on, you got 60 seconds. Come on.
Hey, I just want to say keep up the good work. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. And we're still trying to hold it down here in Kansas.
Good to hear from you, Maloney. We got to talk. I'm going to talk to you soon enough. Shalom, be strong, and Allah is Allah. All praise be to the Most High Ahayah, the God of the Hebrews. Shalom. 60 seconds. Play us a song, guys. Just shalom. Come on.
All right, everyone. You know, you've been listening to the Search Engine International. All right, and sorry for the late start. Hey, brother, say shalom to Elder Rakai.
Shalom, Elder. How you doing?
Shalom. You stay strong. Y'all doing it. Praise the Most High.
Praise the Most High.
All right, man. We don't, just play a song. Elder, you want to say a prayer before we head off?
What up?
Was that Dwayne, the crew over there holding it down?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Good to hear from y'all. I'm gonna see y'all soon enough, I tell you.
Yeah, whole praise the Most High.
All right, man. Elder, you want to do a prayer before we sign off?
We got 10 seconds, bro. We're done.
Washed up.
Shalom.
Well, actually, we're kind of in the overtime right now still. I just said, Elder, if you wanted to pray up before we go.
We're in overtime now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me stop the record here. We call this NOI politics.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we know we're going to get some pushback because of this, but guess what? Hey, maybe they still got the opportunity, right, to come on and bring their side. Huh?
Definitely. All right, everybody. You've been listening to the Search Engine International. All right, and we're going to be back next week, same time. All right, next week. You stay blessed. You have a blessed week. Don't forget to tune into the Sabbath class. Don't forget to register for the academy, all right? Stay strong and we love you here. Stand up.
Found a place where I belong. They didn't want to tell me, but I found out. Straight out of Diamond Style Production. You know, feels so good, so good, yeah. You know where I be, yeah. You know, feels so good, you know where. I I found a place where I belong, cause they didn't want me to know the truth. But then I opened the Bible and got a new attitude. Gain more knowledge in chemistry lab work. It's the scriptures tell you the facts that blacks all had purpose. We special. They don't want you to know your history's written through the pages of the Bible, so they tell you that it's fiction. Stop. Take a look at our people, the straight laws, in and out of church party and bound down to a cross. Come on. False preachers misleading the congregations for dead presidents, teaching you how to follow Satan. Christmas and Easter, these are not in the scriptures, but the companies want your money, so they lie till they get it all. The 10 Commandments, do you know what the Sabbath is, dog? I doubt it if it's Saturday and you're shopping in malls, or Friday night if you're out and clubbing with women when you're supposed to be studying and making better decisions, Judah. Know your heritage. I got a message for you. If you open your mind and learn who you really are, I promise your life will change, your future will get a start. Cause in the direction you headed, I see mistakes. No concern with following your destiny, using your grace. I found out we were chosen to lead the world. God's chosen people, more valuable than a pearl, but unknowing to the glory that's waiting for you to claim it. Your nationality's Israel, which tribe will you name it? You're not African, move that lie to the side. It's time you knew the truth, and time you open your eyes up and stop following everybody who's wicked. They had a reward, heaven or hell, which one are you picking? You were somebody special and not the least. They never told you the truth. I'm telling you what you need to know the facts. This information can save you. You can't doubt it if it came from Ahayah who made you.